Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today in Deck 631, we're going to talk about Abomination of Llanowar, a Golgari elf horror. Would have been cool if this was an elf zombie, but I'm not sure that we're ready for an elf zombie mix. Because, yeah, I'd have too much fun with that. Anyway, 3 mana Vigilance Menace. Power and toughness equal the number of elves you control plus the number of elf cards in your graveyard. Now, this is the first time elves have gotten stuff like this. It is the problem with elves is you flood the board, there's a board wipe, and then you're sad. With this, you can recast it as your commander, buy back your commander, and it still counts those dead elves. So we have a lot of elves in this deck. But the first card that I thought about was Prowess of the Fair. Now, this is a tribal enchantment elf. So if you'll remember from the Abomination of it, it counts elf cards in your graveyard. So if this somehow gets discarded, destroyed, whatever, it's an elf card. But whenever another non-token elf is put in your graveyard, you get a token, an elf token. So that ramps up your commander. Because when one of your creatures dies, you get a token. Now it counts the token plus the elf in the graveyard. So killing your creatures actually pumps up your commander with the prowess out. But before I get too deep in it, let's look at our ramp elves, shall we? There's, yeah, we're going to start off with the first one, the Llanowar elf, Findhorn elf, Elves of Deep Shadow, Leaf Gilder. Yeah, I was, because we got some cards that are not cheap. Wood Elves, Springbloom Druid, Blight Soil Druid, Gnarlroot Trapper, Llanowar Visionary. I love they staple those two cards together. Farhaven Elf, Civic Wayfinder. Now, I am running two artifacts, the Golgari Locket and the Commander Sphere. Those are just good cards. Now, Elf Mom enters the battlefield. This is another card that works great with Prowess of the Fair. Yeah, so every elf you play after this makes her bigger. So, now there is also I don't have the two, the Priest of Titania or the Elvish Archdruid in here. Not for lack of trying. It just, the priest didn't get here in time. Anyway. But once you get Marwyn up to, what is it, 5? Thank you, Staff of Domination reprint. You've got all the green mana in the world and all the cards and tapping all the things and gaining all the... Yeah. Y'all know how that works. And that's kind of another reason why I didn't go, full tilt into work. This is what we're doing. But, so for card draw, gotta have the Beast Whisperer. Cast a creature spell, draw a card. The Harmonize, Elvish Visionary. I'm counting Sylvan Messenger as card draw. It's 4 mana 2/2. You're probably going to get what? 1 to 2 cards off of reliably. And then, of course, we have Rites of Flourishing. Because why not? Now, Buried Alive is not bad. I mean, it's a great card anyway, but it's just going to help you, increase the size of your commander. And, you want those creatures back. You've got the Raised Dead and or Victimized to help get those out. Regular run-of-the-mill elves here. We've got an Essence Warden, because, why not gain a little bit of life? Immaculate Magistrate also works wonderfully with Elf Mom. The Eulogist. You can sack it, which doesn't cost you anything. Well, I mean, it doesn't take away from your commander, because the commander still counts it in the graveyard, and you gain life for each of your elves in your graveyard. So it's perfect. The batch of new elves, Miara, Nadir, Numa, the Nightblade, Nightshade Harvester. Now, Nightshade Harvester, I love opposite landfall. Yeah, they lose a life, and this gets bigger. So, Imperious Perfect helps a bunch. How do we get crooked? Because it just makes, more elves, pumping up your commander. Elvish Champion. Forest Walk is highly underrated, I think. As popular as green is, Forest Walk, I love it. Of course, Timberwatch Elf, I mean, we got a lot of elves, right? The Hunt Master. Talk about a multiplier. All your elves are buy one, get one free. The Wolfskull Shaman, Thornbow Archer, Twin Blade Assassin. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, it didn't care whose creature it was. More than likely it's going to be ours. We just draw a card. Shaman of the Pack. Yeah, that's a... I've won games on just casting Shaman of the Pack. I don't know about you. Elvish Dreadlord. Non-elf creatures get -3/-3. And then the Encore part of it is, hence all the ramp. The Encore part is just ridiculous because, that's a bunch of minuses. Then we have Marilyn. Now, Marilyn's in here because she's a drow. She's a dark elf. Not that this strategically helps us in any way, shape, or form, because it doesn't. There may be situations where it does. There may be situations where it comes back and just slaps me in the face. Pride of the Perfect. See, I could really kind of wish that they had brought back the tribal, but for some reason they're against the tribal thing. They say it doesn't work. I don't know. It works. But we have Overrun. Got to have that Overrun in a big creature deck. And then Azuri, the repeatable Alpha Run. Because that's what it is. It's an Alpha Run. So let's look at some removal. Now, elves, wonderfully enough, have awesome removal in creatures. We have Null Made Shepherd. Normally, we don't really want to tap 4 untapped creatures just to pop an artifact or an enchantment, but that is card advantage. And if we're not swinging with those because we're planning on getting the job done with our commander, hey, that works. Scarblade. Discard an elf card, which pumps your commander to pretty much kill a thing. The Scarblade doesn't get played in a lot of green-black elf decks because the last thing you want to do is discard an elf because you lose it. Well, it still counts. Elvish Skysweeper. 5 mana, sack a creature, which is going to be an elf, to pop a flyer. The Guilt-Leaf Winnower. Whose power and toughness aren't equal. I love how weird it is. Oblight's Ending, it is an elf in the graveyard. We have Hunter of Oblights. I love this. Destroy target creature with a counter on it. It doesn't have to be a 1/1 counter, just any counter. If it's got a counter on it, we're going to destroy it. Yeah. Rex Age, of course. Now, then we have the plethora of black removal. You know what I'm talking about. We have Terror, Doomblade, Cast Down, Murder, Nameless Inversion. It's an elf. Oblite Massacre. I really like Ghastly Demise because it does count cards in your graveyard. Putrefy and Return to Nature. I didn't feel that Feed the Swarm was necessary since we had, green. But let's look at our non-basic lands, shall we? Of course, Llanowar Waste, Pine Barrens, Temple of Malady, Path of Ancestry, Command Tower, the needed Rogue's Passage. This is a deck that actually needs the Rogue's Passage. Encroaching Waste, get rid of those problematic lands. Jungle Hollow, Terramorphic, Evolving, Undergrowth Stadium, the Guildgate, Rot Farm, and the Restless Tomb, because I'm not even going to try to say that first word. Power and toughness equal number of creature cards in your graveyard. The thing about elves is we all know they're going to die. I mean, if I had a skull clamp, we can make sure of it. But that is it for the Abomination. This deck was played. I don't know if it was me. I don't remember playing it. Drop it in our box. And that is 632. So now we're going to go put 632 over on the wall because we're done with it. I'll get the boxes moved eventually. I know it does kind of take away from a certain aesthetic. But I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.